Hello there, I am Shaun McLaren, and today I have a modern deck I like to call Restore Imbalance. Instead of restoring balance, we are restoring imbalance. So the usual idea behind a Restore Balance deck is to cascade either through Ardent Plea or Violent Outburst or Demonic Dread into Restore Balance, which then makes your opponent sacrifice a bunch of permanents and hopefully wins you the game. Today I am also adding some other cards to cascade into, hence the imbalance, because instead of always cascading into Restore Balance, we sometimes cascade into Ancestral Vision or even Wheel of Fate, which potentially might mess us up, potentially might be amazing. We're going to find out today. So for Restore Balance is what we're starting with, and then we've got 4 other things to cascade into. So it's 50-50, assuming you haven't drawn either of these, whether you'll hit a balance or the card draw spells. So Ancestral Vision is just going to draw us 3, and Wheel of Fate is going to draw 7, but also our opponent to causes them to draw 7 as well, which is much more risky. So gonna add some major elements of chance into the deck. The thing is, though, you can cast Restore Balance, Ancestral Vision, or Wheel of Fate with As Foretold, which we also have 4 of. So that's going to kind of mitigate the randomness a certain amount, since if we happen to draw Restore Balance and As Foretold, or just draw Ancestral Vision and As Foretold, we can control what we're casting. The Ardent Pleas and Violent Outbursts are going to be a little bit less controllable. Obviously, I'm not sure if this is good or not. We're just going to see what happens. See if Wheel of Fate is good, see if Ancestral Vision is good. I mean, maybe you split it 2 Ancestral Vision, 4 Restore Balance, or something different. Or maybe 4 Restore Balance, 1 Ancestral Vision. Just chances are you'll hit Restore Balance, but sometimes you hit Ancestral. I mean, obviously, the way the deck is set up, you always hit Restore Balance. So the way the deck is normally set up, you always hit Restore Balance, which is much more consistent, but this gives us more power with As Foretold, and drawing 3 cards is pretty good as well too a lot of the time. So yeah, we cut down on some of the border posts to make room for our Ancestral Visions and Restore Balances, and I'm not a big fan of the border posts in Restore Balance, honestly. I mean, they make your good hands a lot better, but they often also just trip you up. I find myself losing a lot of games with Restore Balance to just not having the mana to cast your spells, so I kind of upped the land count and reduced the border post count. And this deck is more like fine just drawing 3 cards, and border posts don't really care about anything unless you're restoring balance. And of course Gargadon can just sacrifice your lands anyways if you want to when you're casting Restore Balance. So less of a border post theme, as well less of a Blood Moon theme. I mean, Blood Moon can still be good if you ramp it up with Simian Spirit Guide, but with fewer border posts, Blood Moon actually gets worse as well. But we're still trying it out here as a 2 of. So yeah, those are the 3 drops. I mean, lots of Ardent Pleas, lots of Violent Outbursts, so we're going to be cascading a lot of the time that we get our 3 mana up. So one of our win conditions is Greater Gargadon. Sacrificing all our permanents, casting Restore Balance, and then unsuspending the Gargadon, bashing for 9, or even more with Ardent Plea. Get those exalted triggers in, increases that clock. Another potential win condition is just As Foretold. Restoring balance with As Foretold out is going to allow us to cast all our spells even without mana slowly enough, which is another combo with Blood Moon, kind of. If you have As Foretold, Blood Moon doesn't really matter to you as much since you can cast all your spells after a couple turns. So As Foretold kind of also acts as your new border post in a lot of ways. And then our other actual win condition, I mean, As Foretold isn't actually a win condition, it's just a way to cast your spells, which is pretty good, is Nahiri, Finding Emrakul. And of course, Nahiri isn't affected by Restore Balance, which makes it good, so yeah. And Simian Spirit Guide into Nahiri. Simian Spirit Guide into As Foretold is pretty good. Simian Spirit Guide is just great in the deck because it also makes our Restore Balances better by reducing our hand size and not actually being a land. So yeah, kind of a very strange deck, but could be promising. I mean, it could turn out that Ancestral Vision is actually pretty good in the deck. I mean, it might not be, but we shall definitely see. Let's go over the sideboard. So, Leyline of Sanctity. Obviously, we don't want cards that are going to cost less than 3 because we don't want to mess up our cascades more than they already are. So yeah, our sideboard reflects that. Leyline of Sanctity being one of the best cards against Inquisition and Thoughtseize. Ricochet Trap is what we're going to want against counter spells. Being able to force through our Restore Balance or Nahiri or what have you, since Ricochet Trap is basically one red counter target instant, essentially. Next we have some split cards. So Wear and Tear was previously not in the deck at all because you would be able to cascade into it, but there was a rules change, and now its converted mana cost is Wear plus Tear instead of just Wear or Tear when you cascade into them. So you will cascade over top of Wear Tear instead of cascading into it now, which makes it playable. So pretty good card, just good artifact or enchantment removal. Same theory applies to Dead Gone and Cut Ribbons, although Dead Gone and Cut Ribbons are probably less of auto-include than Wear Tear, but we're going to try them out just because we can. I mean, Cut is just a bad Flame Slash, but previously you couldn't play Flame Slash or a bad Flame Slash in the deck, so now we get to, and we get to play a bad Shock as well, or actually a good Shock, I guess, since it can also bounce our opponent's creatures. So that's kind of cool. Also have Anger of the Gods, mostly for getting prized amalgams, I think, but also good against various random weenie decks, Affinity, that sort of thing. Detention Sphere just as a catch-all removal at 3. Another Blood Moon if we want it. And that's about it. So I guess we'll just try out the deck and see how it does. So I hope you enjoy.